That was cute, babe. So that was cute. Yeah, I just did.
Hi,
Hi, Margaret.
how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm all right. Hanging in there.
Did you mean to turn off your video?
No, I just unmuted it.
Oh, because I can't
Oh.
speak.
There we go.
Okay. Awesome. I was gonna say it's
Oh
much
God, I
better when
look
I
so.
get to see you.
I've gotten so fat.
Oh no.
Yeah, I gained 15 pounds since this started.
I don't even want to know how much I've gained since this started.
All I have to do is look at myself, and I know.
Oh.
But it's all good. Cheers.
Cheers.
So what did I miss last week?
We just mostly talked about the mailers. We talked about, or not the mailers, but the flyers and what we wanted to put out. Talked about the Conestoga huts, where to place them, what kind of things that we're going to be asking the city for. So, I mean, I'm sure today will be a continuation of all those topics.
Cool.
Yeah. What have you been up to in your time?
I just have been working. I'm working from home. So I'm just working, doing a little gardening outside.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That sounds like fun. At least you're keeping busy.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so easy to just get caught up and not want to do anything, I think, sometimes, especially when it's just everything seems to be draining on and yeah.
It's really, my work is just slamming. I mean, I can't keep up, nor can I get any product. So, I just spend my time trying to take care of my customer base.
Yeah. That makes sense. That sounds like, I mean, all you really can do.
Yeah. But it keeps me busy, so that's good. And I don't have anywhere to spend money, so that's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you've got a nice garden going out back?
Actually, I have a front yard. I don't have a backyard.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah, I put some raised beds out there and
Nice.
planted in some pots, and it's good. It's the best my yard's looked in 8 years since I've been here.
Nice. That's awesome. Hi, Ian. I think you are on mute.
He's on mute.
Yeah. I set it up so everybody started out muted, but maybe that's not the way to go.
Hello.
Hi, Ian. You look different without your mask on.
Right? Nice. Travis is doing another chair sculpture.
Oh, cool.
He's calling it Chair Sculpture 2 Electric Boogaloo.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm into it. Oh my God, this is amazing. I don't think he's going to be able to make the meeting tonight.
Okay. That should be fine. We just might not. Tonight might be short, actually. Chris was saying that he wanted to keep it short, so I'm not sure if that meant the hour or keep it shorter than that or what, but I guess we'll see how things go. I got a message from Mindy.
What's up?
We're gonna get lasagna delivered around 8.
Oh, awesome.
Chris and I just joined this. It's like a meal pyramid scheme. It's what they call it, but it's not really what it is. But every night you're signed up for either, or not every night, but you're signed up to either give meals or receive meals.
Mm-hmm.
So for one night out of the week, you have to make a meal for 3 different households that serves 2 people each, and then 3 different nights during the week, you get meals delivered to you for 2 people.
Find my glasses.
And so tonight we're getting meal delivered to us, and the girl hit me up and was like, "Making
Exciting.
lasagna. I'll be over at 8." So we're gonna have some lasagna once this is over with.
That's awesome.
The other night we got this really amazing chicken tortilla soup with beans and rice, and we like ate the beans and rice yesterday for like leftovers and ate the soup for like leftovers. So it's a really interesting way to like set up getting some variety, because it's all like a lot of people that are in the restaurant industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just like don't know how to get all that variety and are bored with their time and are looking for different ways to sort of create that environment.
Totes. That sounds awesome. Where'd you guys find out about it? What's up, Chris?
Hi. Rio.
She's over at Blair Alley, and our neighbor Chet was doing it, and he came by and was telling us all about it.
Yep.
It's a really good deal. I mean, food-wise. You make
Sounds just like an awesome thing to do, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, it's nice because 3 nights out of the week now, I don't have to like plan dinner. We don't have to like think about it. We just get it delivered over here. And all we have to do in exchange is 1 night during the week, make enough food for 3 different households.
Totally.
Hi, Steven.
Hi, Steven.
Chris, I have 3 things this evening. One of them is COVID-19 related. 2
Awesome.
are not related.
Awesome. I love good news. It's so rare these days we have good news.
Kidding.
You obviously do not have a sneak preview of what I was going to say.
What time is it? 7:03.
Wait a couple minutes.
I guess we'll give people a few more moments to chime in.
Okay.
Hey, cat. Don't do that.
Did you cut your hair, Ian?
Huh? No, it's just
Get a
an hat.
haircut? Oh, it's just under your hat.
Chris is growing a beard, though. I can see.
This is my Corona gross beard.
I think I'm gonna shave my head.
Yeah, you were saying that.
I would have shaved it already had I known this was gonna last this long.
Your hair is getting taller, I notice.
It is. I've shaved my head before, and it's the most comfortable haircut.
But
It's not
you have
good
so
in
much hair up there. Yeah.
profession. But if I'm going to be home for another 6 weeks, then I'm going to shave my head.
Oh wow, 6 more weeks. Dogs. Come on.
I will probably be home for at least that.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm back at work, but we have a project that's going to be on hold for a month due to COVID, which is probably going to influence about 40 employees at my work. So more.
Are you on that list?
It all depends. I mean, no, I'm not that low on the totem pole, or quote unquote. But it's still just not, I mean, right before this, it was looking great. And now it's just, it's so much of the unknown, because some of this is just speculative for like investors, whereas before it was awesome. Hi, Thea. Hello.
Everybody started out on
What's
mute,
up?
so
You're muted. Hold on.
they can unmute themselves.
Well, I will tell you. So one of my customers is the he's in Salem, and he is the he's head of the COVID-19 task force for the state, and he's actually just from Cottage Grove. And he told me the earliest that we will even start loosening up is at the end of the month. But for me, that means, because of my personal situation, I'm probably looking at 2 months or more.
Damn.
But I can work from home, so I'm lucky.
Well, I notice it's loosening up for people out in the general public. Lack of masks everywhere. I shop only at Fred Meyer's, and it's pretty odd, the number of people that are in there with no masks. And the social distancing isn't happening when people are talking to each other. People are coming, as close as you did before in all the lanes. There's some form of, I guess, social distancing fatigue, or I don't know. I don't know if it's just misinformation that people have, or if I really don't. It's odd.
What do you think it is, Chris? Do you think it's a combination of all those things?
I think it's a combination of that, and I think that people are digesting all types of media, and we're also in an election cycle. Go ahead, Stephen. I'm sorry.
We went several days where the state report said there was no new cases in Lane County, which could have been creating that false sense of security for Lane County.
Right.
I was down by the river the last few days, and on both occasions, I was the only person wearing a mask down by the river, from the end of Polk to River Road and down to the bridge.
This is Margaret. Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it here also. Well, let's see. I didn't get a message from Brad that he's not going to be here.
Travis isn't going to make it tonight, Chris.
Travis doesn't. Okay. And then
Said he wasn't going to.
Yeah, I saw his message too.
Katie's here, and it seemed like she was going to be at the meeting, but
muted.
She's on mute, so.
I'm here.
Hi.
Go downstairs. Go. Maybe we should just start without Brad.
Yeah. Well.
Can you make this up?
Hey guys, stop.
We could take it in turns to be Brad.
Nice. I like that idea. I can't hear what you're saying.
I say we take it in turns to be Brad, so Ian can be Brad for the next 10 minutes.
Okay. I'll just sullenly.
You have to cross your legs and lean back. Yeah.
Let me just put on my shorts.
Your knees, your ankles.
The gym teacher shorts.
The gym teacher shorts. I like that.
So I guess before we get going, we do have a few things on the agenda. Stephen, did you have something that you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, the two non-COVID related things.
Sure.
Okay. The first one is last year I came to the council and reported that we were in conversation with NEDCO about increasing the capacity of their housing for young people who've aged out of foster care. There are currently like 12 units behind our building, and they are planning to double that capacity. And I said we were talking to them about how we could make that happen. It's still going on. We're still talking to them. And NEDCO has now changed their name to DevNW because they merged with another organization. And they will possibly be reaching out to members of WCC. And we have a request that if you have if they reach out to you, would you contact us and we'll chat with you first to talk about some of the complexity before you take a meeting with what used to be called NEDCO?
Yeah.
That could either be with Emily, the executive director, or Erin, their property development person. The other matter that I had was, I would really like to know if anybody would be willing to chat with us. Have I disappeared? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting, because I've lost the screen. I will try and find it again. The other thing is, we are fairly new to Eugene. Well, I'm new to Eugene, and my partner hasn't lived here for quite a while. We'd like to know if anybody would be willing to chat with us on the phone about candidates running for office in the election. Just go through the ballot with us to give us some input. Not official Whitaker Council, but individual input. Can you still hear me?
Mhm.
I haven't done mine yet.
Yeah, I will also reach out to Brad for that assistance too.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I mean, it really is. There's a lot to learn about some of the people.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe if everybody knows something a little bit about somebody else, we can kind of fill each other in and offer our 2 cents instead of expecting one person to know all. Because I might know a person or two, and Chris might, and Ian might, and Margaret might, and Thea might, Katie might, but
What I have done when I have had other nonprofits that can't take political stands, we have interviewed candidates rather like the League of Women Voters does, and get candidates to answer questions or share information about candidates without actually doing an endorsement. And that's something that nonprofits tend to do.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I actually haven't poured through my ballot yet either.
Okay.
so maybe that's something that we can all do as responsible community members.
I do remember when I first moved here, I would look at the voters guide that came with the Eugene Weekly. Not that I was 100% aligned with it, but I would say that 9 times out of 10, my values were very similar with some of the people that were giving endorsements.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just, you know, just as an outside kind of perspective of a, you know, a newspaper that's been around for a long time too. You know, and I mean, they are, you know, beholden to their advertisers and also the people that run the company, but they're not bad, you know, and they are what I would consider like they have the pulse of what Eugene is about.
Yeah.
At least I would say a non-conservative Eugene.
And I always read the voters pamphlet that they send.
Yeah, that part also too. And some of these guys we've known from being here for so long. You
Yeah,
know?
that's right. And also, I'd like to know which candidates there may be existing relationships with the council too. If like
Okay.
who might be best as a contact for the council if they got elected or re-elected.
Well, I do know that Joel Ibarra, who's running for one of the commissioner seats, used to live in the Whitaker, is very passionate about the Whitaker.
Great. We were very impressed by what we've heard about him.
He came to our meetings also.
Great.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely something we can get back to you on. I can personally get back to you after you know, I looked at my ballot.
Super.
And then I
And
guess
when you're looking
subsequently,
at the
if anyone else-
voter, when you're looking at the voter information booklet, it's amusing reading to read the Trump posting because it covers Republican candidates too. And the Trump blurb is quite amusing.
At least those are easy to pick out.
It talks about the booming economy and how the low unemployment rate and things like that.
Yeah, 16%, that's pretty low.
It's kind
So
of,
yeah, Steven, that's something I would definitely, I can personally get back to you that also, and then I guess any member that's here that has some time.
awesome. Thank you
That's
very
cool.
much.
What's the name of the gentleman that has come to all of our meetings?
Joel Iboa,
Okay.
Cliff Gray. Cliff Gray.
Cliff Gray.
Oh,
Cliff
okay.
Gray, yeah. Yeah, Joel's the commissioner seat. Cliff Gray is running for our,
Sorcerer, or
I'm sorry, pardon me.
For the council seat, right?
Lori
Yeah.
Traeger is running for against Joel Ibarra, and she also used to be on the community council, and she has represented us in different city activities.
And who's in the seat currently?
That's the county commissioner. Sorensen is retiring.
Oh, she
Brad's trying
is.
to join the meeting, but he says he's on hold. Can you let him in?
yeah. I missed that. I was taking notes.
So that's why we haven't heard anything. That's funny that she is doing
I
that.
sent him a text and a message. Said, I told him we missed his legs.
And now we get him.
I'm going to try and get.
Hold on, Brad, you're muted.
I'm trying to get the video back. So if I lose you, I will come back in.
Okay,
Okay.
we can still see you.
I miss having functional legs too.
How you doing, Brad?
Okay.
Well, that is good. We were just talking with Steven. He had, oh, I'm sorry, yeah. He had some information that he wanted us to know about potential happenings for some housing for people that are aging out of foster care. We might be having people reach out to us about that. He wanted to be included because it's right behind his house.
Yeah.
Another thing is he was wondering if any of us wanted to take some time to maybe go over the voter's guide with him about some of the people that are on the ballot because he is fairly fresh to Eugene. So that's what was happening. The skinny of what was going on without you. That looks delicious.
I'm back. I can see you now.
Okay,
And I can
cool.
I can see reclining Brad.
Nice. So first up on the agenda that we have, unless anyone has anything they wanted to shout out, Thea Lee, you have anything?
Nope.
Okay. Katie, you good? Okay. Ian, the letter and the next steps for the WCC?
Yeah, so I attached some of the documents that Chris, Thea, Brad, and I worked on last week, last Friday, the 1st. So the letter we're still going through. I talked to Claire Surrett on Saturday. She's supportive of it. She'd love to see the letter once we start winnowing it down a little bit more. Thea worked on a letter to businesses asking for their support. And then I worked on the letter that we'd attach as an appendix or an attachment once businesses sign on. So as a next step, wanted to talk about when we should send this out to the council and the city manager, doing outreach to businesses to ask for their support, And then we also need to get 2 more things. One's like a letter of support and an invoice from community supported shelters for the amount of Conestoga huts with a price. And then the other is, from Whitebird clinic, saying that they support the idea of the resource center and hygiene center that would be formerly the unhoused resource center that the city was proposing, but only for the program that we're slated for in the letter. So I think we need to do 4 different things. 1 is finish the letter. 2 is get the letter out to businesses asking for their support. 3 is getting the letter from Whitebird, and then the last is kind of deciding when we're going to shoot everything out. I think Kitty would be a good person to have her as someone to sign on to the letter when it's finished. And like I said, I'm pretty sure Claire Surratt's like she's more on the yes than she is on the no. But something that would really get her like 100% the yes column is if we have the business community supporting. And I had a beer or 2, definitely 2, with Jeff Althouse. He's the owner of Oakshire, and he's down the street from me. And he said, yeah, he'd support it. He hasn't read the letter yet, but he's pretty gung-ho on it. So that's one business owner. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to open up for the conversation. I don't know if meeting again on Friday would be helpful, but I'd be willing to do that if people are open to it. I can work on finishing up the draft of the letter tomorrow. But yeah, we're in a pretty good space, and yeah, I just feel that once we get the business community support, that'll be a good time to reach out to Claire and to Kitty, and then I don't know, definitely before the end of the month, but maybe like Friday the 15th or the 18th, maybe before a lot of these budget decisions are made. Reach out to council. Their schedule, I can't remember what it is offhand, but I remember the first budget meetings on the 13th, and there's one on the 20th, and then one on the 27th, I think. Might be a good time to get this on their radar before a lot of budget things take up their time and energy.
Yeah, and maybe there's money that's opening up for something just like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? Yeah.
Ian, when you talked to Oakshire, were they game to have a Conestoga hut?
Jeff said he'd think about it. I think Jeff was a lot more game to like financially sponsor a Conestoga hut. He was thinking about where it would go.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't opposed. He was just like, I don't really have the space for it. Would it go like out front? And so he was kind of racking his brain about it.
They have space in the back.
I talked to him about that too. So.
Yeah.
And do they rent that parking lot or own the parking lot across the street?
I'm unsure if they rent the parking lot across the street.
So, yeah, I think this is, well, one, let's identify the businesses that we want to approach also, you know, or are we going to send it out in mass or utilize our personal contacts? You know what I mean? Or, I mean, because we could already get the guys that we know, you know, the Nikos, the Steves, let's see, probably the guys from the Red Apple, potentially. It seems pretty benign for them. You know, it's not going to be a negative influence on their business by having people that are housed. Maybe try to have use Eddie to reach out to the people from the granola place. I mean, does anyone else have any ideas of businesses? Because, I mean, we could do it 2 ways. We could go through our contacts or our personal, like, you know, or we could send it in the mail, which I think is a little impersonal, but.
What about that lady that came to the meeting that owned all that property down by the beauty supply?
We could talk to her. They're a little less inclined for
she would be excited to have people off the street.
Yeah, and I think that they're not going to be very happy when Whitebird opens up that Resource Center.
Thank you.
That was, that was pre-COVID. So now it's going to be even more interesting. So timeline with this, Ian, do you want to have another meeting on Friday in regards? Okay. I'm totally down. And I can reach out personally to, like, you were saying is I can reach out to Nikos, send them like, I could maybe even, would you guys feel comfortable letting him preview a rough draft?
If that letter's
send me,
almost done.
okay.
You want to do it on Friday after the meeting? Because I think
Totally,
if we
yeah.
finish it by then, I think that's a good idea, Chris, to use both our personal contacts and be impersonal, because it seems like, why not? Like, if I reached out to Nikos, he wouldn't respond probably, but if you reached out to him, he almost certainly would respond. Same with Jeff, if he almost said yes to me, it's because he's my neighbor.
Yeah. And that works to our advantage, whether we believe it or not, these interpersonal relationships that we have with people. So they're very important.
Thea, Brad, are you free on Friday? Stephen, Margaret, Katie, do you want to join on Friday?
What time?
6.
6 works for me.
And the only reason I say that is I have to
commitment.
work on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to.
I have a commitment on Friday.
Okay.
I'll try.
Okay.
I can do it.
Stephen,
I could say I'm going for a drive that day because Brad's here.
With your top down, hair in the breeze.
She's just afraid I'm going to come let all the air out of her tires.
So, we can send a letter, or we can send an email to community-supported shelters to get a cost breakdown of one.
Well, can't you just call or email Eric and
Yeah,
have that ready by Friday?
okay. I will do exactly as Annika just said
I mean, you
by
might,
Friday.
wow. I mean, if we contact him
It starts
tomorrow-
already. We're only like 20 minutes into the meeting.
So,
No, I'm just kidding.
quick
Um,
question.
Yeah, I think this sounds great, Ian. And I guess the quicker we get this in too, the easier it is to find a way, sneak into a budget somewhere.
I also think you're gonna get a yes
Dogs.
if you do it in person with a letter. I think you'll get a yes easier than just a letter.
Okay. I mean, some people are Zoom meetings, but
Same
Yeah.
concept applies, I think.
okay. So yeah. We'll have a couple things done for that meeting on Friday. And then after that, we'll approach the businesses with the letter.
Quick question.
Yes.
So I missed last week, but did you, when you were talking about locations, did you decide on Scobert Park? Can
I'm
you hear
sorry,
me?
can you repeat that?
I said, I'm sorry, I missed last week, but when you were talking about possible locations to put Conestoga huts, did you decide on Scobert Park?
We talked about Scoburg behind the fence as one of the locations, potential locations.
Okay, and the reason I ask is because I'm personal friends with the owners of Sweet Life.
Hmm.
They also live next door to Scobert Park
Yeah.
Yeah.
and have had many problems there. Although I mean, approaching them for help is always a good thing, and they tend to be supportive. But I don't know how they'll feel about this.
And I think that, go ahead, sorry.
Margaret, I have been thinking about that. We were talking about this at our meeting too, because we don't want to piss the neighbors off, and all of these are pending neighbor approvals. We can't shove anything down their necks. But one thing I do know about her, because I want to use her as a business reference for this letter also, is she's Tim Lewis's ex-wife. So
Well, you're talking about Cheryl. And
Yeah.
she owns it with her sister.
yeah,
Her sister Catherine actually lives next door Cheryl lives up in South Hills now,
Yeah,
but Catherine is the one who lives right next door.
totally.
Yeah, I know them all very well.
They're really nice people. We were just over there during that John Prine event that I was behind the scenes on, not in front of the camera. But I think that if we had support from them, I think it would be pretty instrumental in at least getting more of them in there.
Right, and you may very well get support from Sweet Life for the whole process, but I don't know about support for the location because
Yeah.
of the issues that she's had.
I totally agree. And I think part of that is going to be what we were addressing, is, these have to be suitable locations, but, in parks and things like that, we're going to have adequate policing, and we're going to have rules that are going to have to be enforced, because it does challenge, people who are unhoused to not want to buddy up with people that are, say, in a more permanent structure, thinking that they're
Right.
not going to get kicked out. So
Yeah, I used to live over there on the other side of the tracks, as we called it, on the other side of Blair. It's a very different world over there than it is over here.
yeah, I mean, I agree. It is in certain places, even in the Whitaker, probably going to be an uphill fight to try to get the numbers that we're going for. But it is. We can only be ambitious, and we can only push the envelope as far as we possibly can. Because right now, I mean, we're about to enter a big recession. I mean, with such crazy job uncertainty, people are going to need houses. And if we are a body that could actually do some good and provide it, I mean, we're going to have to start asking some neighbors to,
I'm not opposed
what
to
do we want to
that.
trade? Like,
I think it's
even
a
in
good
Ian's
thing.
neighborhood, man. I mean, they got people down there every day, and they're still willing to try to work with it. Hopefully, we'll see. Same as all these other ones that we've identified too. So I don't know. And yeah, it isn't going to be like a slam dunk deal. But we also want to be conscious of maybe people have a different perspective on where they could go. And we also have to be conscious of where do we, think is a good place for new neighbors to live. We don't want to put them in like the worst location to fail. Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Chris, did you email Cheryl yet?
From the mission,
Yeah.
I Facebooked her underling guy because I wanted to talk to him, but I will email her. I will email her when we get off this meeting. I promise. Yeah, I wanted to interview the guy who got what was his name?
Victor?
No, the guy that was the vice chair.
James?
James. God, I forgot James's name. He got James's job over there.
Oh, is James no longer there?
No.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Strategic planning.
The strategic planning. Ian, this was something that you want to chat about?
Yeah, can I share the screen?
You should be able to.
Okay. Have you guys ever read the history section on the East Blair cooperative housing website? It's pretty amazing.
The what?
I don't know.
What is it?
It's the East Blair cooperative housing website. They have like a little history section.
Oh.
And it talks about how the WCC founded Nedco and got 3 years of community development block grant money. It's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to talk about strategic planning because Eddie, Annika, and I worked on it a little bit before COVID, and then COVID took over. This is a document that I was a part of when I worked for the city of West Sacramento. and it's pretty cool. It really helped. It's like a document that like existed like as posters and like bookmarks and stuff, more like shows a process more than anything else. So what you're looking at is the strategic plan summary for all of 2019 for the whole of the city of West Sacramento, which is this town in California. And through this process, it identifies top priority and high priority goals. And those goals change based on if they're specific policies or if they're related to management. So basically, like this is kind of like a work product that is generated at the end of a process. And I'm suggesting we engage in a similar process, like maybe carve like 10 minutes out or maybe 15 minutes out every meeting for the next couple of meetings for us to be able to talk about what's important to us for the next year. And so eventually we'd have something like this. You know, for us, it might not be policy and management. It might be something like projects and operations. But basically, I want to suggest that we engage in something similar, just carve out a little bit of time each week so that we eventually get to a place where for the next fiscal year, we create a list of priorities that we're trying to accomplish as a group. The reason I wanted to show this example is because it's one that's, you know, I've been a part of it, it's pretty successful, but also it kind of identifies really cool things. So these are like individual outcomes that are being pursued by the organization, but you can see that they're color coded. Like this is like a light pink, this one's like a deep red, and this one's like a light peach color. And they're all correlated to these colors down here at the bottom, right? Strategic plan goals. So through this process, you know, you start out with like a vision and a mission, a vision of like what you want to accomplish as an organization, and a mission is like how you're going to accomplish that. But then after that, you come up with these kind of goals, these kind of overarching things at the bottom that you want to move forward during a specific year. And while the vision and the mission don't really change year to year, these goals do change year to year, these kind of strategic plan goals. And, you know, I'd suggest that, you know, we engage in this process so that every year, you know, starting with this year, we identify maybe 2 to 4 different things that these are the things we want to accomplish. And I feel like we've talked about them, you know, over the course of the year that I've been here. But the thing that would really be different is we'd identify, you know, maybe 5 different kind of individual goals in like a project bucket or a policy bucket that we would advocate for in the Whitaker. And then also kind of in the management area, that's kind of more operations, things like making the website, relaunching the newsletter. I don't know, things that aren't really like sexy, but they're, you know, just as important.
So I
And
pulled
so,
out.
well,
I'll let
no
you
worries. So I know I'm kind of getting long-winded towards here, but really I wanted to show this because it's illustrative of a really cool process. And it's the process of working towards a set of really, I wouldn't say guiding principles as much as goals. And they're designed to change year to year, but also designed to help organizations focus on the things that matter the most. And we can use them, hopefully, to get more people involved in the WCC. And it'd be helpful too, I think, as a way to pitch different grant funders and the city to say, look, we made these goals at the beginning of the year. Look at all the ones we accomplished. We're totally worthy of getting more money. So I'm not really married or personally emotionally invested in creating something exactly like this. I'm more, kind of like enthusiastic about the idea of being a part of a process that gets us, you know, to focus on a set of shared goals that we can then communicate to like the city or potential funders so that we can be able to be more competitive for additional funding for things that are important to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So
Chris and Annika, do you still have all the posters, or does Katie have them? Are they in the closet in the WCC room that when we created committees and stuff for ideas that all the neighborhood wanted?
They should be. I
They
mean,
should be.
yeah, they haven't been taken out by us.
That would be a good starting point.
That
Yeah.
would be a starting point. I busted out a couple of books just because, I mean, I took classes and did workshops and did a bunch of shit to like actually like train how to facilitate something like that. So I would be, oh yeah, I'd be happy to, I mean, share that knowledge and that experience with you guys. But the thing that I would be worried about is getting very attached to this sort of way that this looks and the way that it spreads out, because I think one of the issues that we did have when we tried to do this earlier, when I can't think of her name.
I can't remember her
Oh
name.
my god.
AC.
Yeah, help me. Who was the chair before her?
AC.
Oh yeah, when Stacy did this and James, and it was very much like, it felt like it was, we were trying to be forced into creating something that wasn't necessarily natural for us. So what we would have to do is we'd have to kind of like go back, I think, to square one. And I definitely could help with that.
You know, I think I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. Maybe coming up with something to have like a questionnaire for the neighborhood also, to kind of gauge where all the neighbors are about maybe some of the things that we're thinking is good for the neighborhood, you know, or maybe identify some maybe hidden or unknown needs that we haven't tapped into. But I think this is, yeah, I think that, you know, the one thing that we as an organization has been is pretty reactionary to everything that's gone on with us. I remember when we kicked into high gear right after that shooting. You know, when right after that, there was, we were just almost in crisis mode constantly about everything that was going on in our neighborhood.
When I think, when that, sorry, I haven't been raising my hand either.
I think it'd be good to identify, you know, some goals, especially if we can get some money to go through. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I guess when you're saying stuff like that, though, like that's what I would also envision, like being in a document like this, where a priority would be figuring out the pulse of the neighborhood on this, and this issue, or like have that be the strategic planning goals would be hear more community voices, and then we could ingrain that in sort of the other goals and that we have. So and that's what I mean, like creating something that is natural for us. Like it doesn't have to look like this, but making sure that we identify where our weaknesses are currently, and then create a document that sort of recognizes that and allows us to grow in those weaknesses, and also highlights our strengths and allows us to really use those for guiding us forward.
So you're talking about using this, Ian, like to help to help get grants, money, present to the city, that kind of thing. Is that correct?
Yep. So
to me, what this does is it shows a direction. It gives a foundation. It shows it really creates at least the idea that there are goals and strategies in place when you go to the city and say, hey, we want money to build Conestoga huts, and these are our priorities, and these are why, and this is how we're going to do it. Rather than, as you said, Chris, just kind of, shooting from the hip. When you're dealing with the city and with the council and all of that, they want concrete foundation, facts, goals. They want to see it in front of them. And that's what this creates to me. I mean, it doesn't have to be in this format, but something like this.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I mean, we are in a crazy pandemic, things are odd.
And it also helps organize us so we aren't just shooting from the hips.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one thing for us to seem like we are, but it's another thing to actually like be organized in a way where we are I mean, what we're doing is with intention, based on what we had just communicatively like decided that is important to us as a neighborhood and as a community.
Which is a good thing.
And
Yeah.
I think that
Remember
we,
that shooting? It happened a block from my house.
yeah,
I
and
mean-
you know, we started these committees where Thea became our liaison with the city. We opened up dialogue with Chief Skinner after that. You know, all these things are happening. That's the other thing too, is I want to highlight the fact that we have so many successes as a group. You know, we don't always highlight them, but we are very successful when we work as a group. You know, even, you know, from, like I was saying, Thea to Dubcat to, you know, getting our parking lots, maybe not keeping them, getting different people in the city government to talk to us about houselessness. Yeah, we are a powerful group. It would be good to have some outline goals and.
It's just the next level. It's just a.
Yeah. Well,
just
like
a
Annika
step
said, though, we did try to really micro organize our visions by having so many committees. And I think Thea was on like 6, Katie was on like 5 or 6 also. And it was just unreasonable for us to, 1, have that level of time commitment, and 2, also to be able to address all those issues, because it was pretty staggering.
It was too many.
Yeah.
And they weren't focused.
Katie?
Well, I like it. I like the idea of yeah, kind of having a vision and a focus. And then when we are reacting to things, we can see how it fits into our vision and focus. But also forming that with feedback from the community, which, you know, part of it we've done through the Health and Safety Committee. Some of the presentations we've taken from what the neighbors had said they were interested in, and we've done presentations. But I like having it written out so we can keep our vision on what we think is important.
So I like the idea, and I like carving out some time during these meetings to identify, say I mean, maybe the first would be 1, to identify our goals, you know. 2, also maybe how we're going to go with our goals, such as the Health and Safety Committee. Stephen, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've been involved in quite a few for-profit organizations and non-profits that have worked on a similar framework. And it often is preceded by what's called a SWOT analysis. Anybody familiar with SWOT analysis? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So it's stepping back and looking at, starting with the big picture and then focusing down on these specific priorities and goals and objectives after the big picture starts it off.
I've done a lot of stuff with sticky notes, and I'm not sure if you guys have ever done anything with that, but there's been lots of, there can be fun like in this too, I guess.
Yeah.
So what say ye? Shall we continue this, say 15, 20 minutes a meeting? Or if it needs to be a little bit less for time constraints? Is everybody okay with that? Okay. Great idea. Thank you, Ian. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Next on the agenda, I had a gentleman named Danny Kime had reached out to me, and he is the owner of, forgive me, I just had some chips. He's the owner of Sessions Music Hall. Oddly enough, Sam had given him my number, and I'm having a Zoom call with him tomorrow at 6 in regards to, he wants to talk about bringing, let me find out what it is, pure fiber, and starting out in Whitaker. So bringing fiber internet into Eugene, but seeing if Whitaker would be a good recipient or the benefits of it. I'm not really sure. I thought it was a really odd, like out of the blue, but if anyone wants to Zoom call at 6 and listen to what he has to say, because I really don't know him. I just know he's a businessman in town. So,
Came to a couple meetings.
huh? Oh yeah, he has been to a couple meetings. I've communicated with him about stuff for the block party, but not in relation to anything like this. So I just thought it's odd. I don't know what the infrastructure would do to the Whitaker, whether it cuts trees up or what's going on with that, or what the cost is, or where the cost would be, you know, who would pay for it. So I don't know, 6 o'clock tomorrow, and, you know, go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for economic development if it can be laid out in the right area for companies that need to use fiber for their business operations.
Like Arcimoto?
Arcimoto, sure, they're one of them. I know that the city of Eugene has talked about extending fiber from downtown because it's already, the infrastructure for fiber already exists in certain parts of downtown Eugene. So yeah, I'm sure it would be in the city's interest too. I think it's expensive, and I'm pretty sure fiber can run along existing like sewer infrastructure. Like it can be, the pipe can be laid next to sewer, but I don't know very much about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought it was odd, out of the blue. Want to throw it out there. 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Would you send me the invitation to the meeting?
Sure will. I sure will.
You gonna put it up on the board page?
You can just use this login information.
So we'll use this login information then.
Okay.
But we will put it on the board page. Do you want to go with your QSL cost update?
Sandwich boards.
Oh, Sam.
Or-
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
Because I wanted to talk to Eddie about it. So go ahead.
Eddie?
And Travis.
So I got an update. I kind of, because QSL doesn't charge like 10 cents per printout. It doesn't charge. It does it based on, I mean, really how many you do, and then the more you add on from there, the cheaper it gets. And the exception of that is like specialty items, so like our sandwich boards. So I just gave them numbers, and we can adjust those numbers how we see fit, but it was just something to start out with to get like quotes back. So I'll just go, the sandwich boards, she said we print on 3mm PVC plastic, because I asked them if they could do like something laminated. So the material is waterproof, durable for outdoor use, and has smooth print surface. So we would just want to attach that to the boards that we are creating. 2 by 3 feet would be $42 each. So we need 2 of those per sandwich board.
Can you share this cost with everybody?
Sure, let me.
I mean, it might make it easier to see. Sorry, Dylan. See if we can do it in 8 minutes.
Wait. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So 420 for 5 essentially sandwich boards. I asked her, since our printing is all yellow and black, instead of printing yellow and black, because that's more expensive too, I asked them if we could just print on yellow paper, do black ink on yellow paper. And they said that that's not a problem. And so we get better pricing that way. So for the 3rd page flyer, like I said, I think we had talked about doing it front and back so we can fit more information onto it. And so that's 120 for 150 of those printed out. Our regular flyers would be $100 or $67 for 100 printed out. yeah. So I guess all of these would really be easy to afford with the budget that we have remaining. The yellow mailer was about 855, or I guess it's just the mailer was about 855 plus postage. So I'm guessing about probably 11 to 1200, but we still have them 3000. So none of these are going to be break the bank. So I think if we want to go higher, we can go higher. I just don't know what was realistic for us and what quantities we wanted. I figured the little bookmarks we could hand out a lot of.
We can always get more later if we find that this isn't enough. The one thing I did,
Well,
have some experience with is doing things for Block Party and then the weight event thing, is we would always get a lot of printed material and end up with tons of it left over. So this, we could always order more.
this though with QSL, it is going to be cheaper, with the exception of the sandwich boards, to add more of the flyers and the bookmarks is going to be a lot cheaper to do, just to add it on, because most of that's reflected as a setup fee. So, and I think for the third, they're cutting it for us too. So there's a fee in that, and it's usually per like the 100. So, like I said, if we want, don't need to go overboard, but if we want to get more than just that, I don't think that it's going to be like that much more expensive. Ian?
Brad, did you hear back from the billboard folks? You're muted, dude.
I haven't heard back yet. I think they're kind of in that place where they're not coming into work every day kind of thing. So we'll see. When I first started dealing with him, he was actually away out of town. And I have a feeling he's done so again.
Okay. Well, does anyone have any input on the numbers? They seem okay. I mean, I know Annika was playing with them a little bit, and we do have some wiggle room. Plus, the other thing too is if we do have some remainder in our budget, we can also put out another newsletter. I don't want to blow all of this money. Even though I've been against this fucking newsletter, just for I don't know why, but I think now is probably the best time to do something. Go ahead, Thea.
Right. You can use MailChimp for a newsletter. So you could have all your people that have attended your meetings, and then you could have them opt out of paper, so that would save money.
Yeah, and I just like the idea of sending it to people's homes too.
Yeah.
With that, having this newsletter, it would maybe be a really good idea to maybe couple what we were just talking about earlier with trying to gauge the pulse of the community in regards to what we're talking about with the strategic planning. Come up with kind of a questionnaire maybe for some people. What are their thoughts? What are their identify some needs, and maybe list some of the things that we thought would be important. Obviously, the things we're working on now, but I don't know, maybe another good time to have Anon put something out there, some type of questionnaire for people that are in the Whitaker. I mean, if we have enough pages, or do a trifold or something like that, we could have a couple things that people just have, it perforates off and then gets dropped off somewhere, or find a way to have postage free. I don't know. I'm totally thinking outside the box right now, but that being said, does anybody have any anything else on what Annika had posted? Ian?
Thanks for doing this, Annika.
No problem.
Yeah, the NLC is trying to have neighborhood associations spend all of their money down because we're going into a really tough budget cycle. And if we have a bunch of money left over, the city will say then neighborhood associations shouldn't get money for next year.
Right.
So I think we should break the bank by June 30th.
When
if
is
we
it,
can.
June 30th?
Yeah,
Okay, well, hey, that gives us a good end date then. So newsletter by June 30th. Identify the needs for it, what we're gonna do with it. I wanna bring Anon into this too, you know. I think it would be a good time to maybe find out the health of our neighborhood in certain ways. I don't know, it's something to think about. So I did have something about sandwich boards, but it was for Eddie and Travis. I want them to physically help me make them. It's the least they can do for skipping some of these meetings.
So, sorry, one question going back to that. Ian, were you working on editing the bookmark size thing so it was double-sided and have more information, or was that something that?
No, we didn't, but we can do that.
Okay.
If you just tell us what to put on the back, I can send it back to the Dubcat designers and.
Okay, yeah, because I thought that it was going to be roughly the same stuff that was in our like little COVID newsletter, yellow mailer thing. Does that ring any bells?
Yeah, well, it's tough to fit everything to format it when it's smaller like that. But I can, if you want to highlight the portions that, if you look at the third page of the bookmark that exists right now and you want to put new stuff in there, if you.
Right, but that's what I mean, double-sided.
No, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay, and two, we need the art edited so it's just one on a page instead of three on a page.
I'm sorry?
I'll message you later.
Okay.
Okay.
Katie?
So Chris, I don't know if you remember, but Margaret from the police department said she had a lot of sandwich boards she could give us.
Yeah, she did. She said, and
So we could just spruce them up, paint them or whatever.
yeah, that's a great idea. And I do have the lumber and the stuff. That's why I was like, okay, guys, let's make them. But yeah, I'll hit her back up because I did need to talk to her. One last thing, and I won't keep you very long. Remember I was telling you about the camp there, people were on West 7th and West 5th? Well, that camp was removed. They had placed 4 porta potties out there. They removed it with a backhoe. They, yeah.
You know why though?
Yeah.
So the break-in at Coastal, a lot of the material that was stolen from Coastal Farm Supply was found at the camp.
I know.
Oh, I heard about this.
Great neighbors.
Well, and here's the other thing. That was the same camp that they had just busted right before that, and they bulldozed their tents and put them into the back of trucks too. And
but they gave these guys a whole weekend to move. They told them they had to be out Friday, and then they didn't do anything till Monday.
I know. So here's my other thought is, where are they going to go next? Steven, go ahead.
No, it's a follow-on topic, but finish this one first.
I was going to say, where are they going to go next? You know, I mean, this is not addressing the problem. If it's victimizing the people where they're congregating, then we're going to have a problem because they're continuing to move all over. So just something to be aware of as, like I was talking to Thea about it, we have an increase in camping on West 3rd, and it's not hygienic at all. It's less than hygienic.
Did you call it in, Chris?
I did.
Call it again.
Okay, I will, and then nothing happened, but we'll see. Steven, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my third thing was that the hand washing and the toilets at the end, the porta potties at the end of Polk are still about 200 yards apart.
Yeah.
The porta potties have been moved to one of the access roads that goes to that. I think it's a flood retention structure. At the
Oh,
end.
yeah.
And the hand washing is still over by the parking lot that is accessed from River Road.
Is this the one that Brad's been talking about too?
Yeah.
I'll
Do
contact
the
Margaret again.
Don't the porta potties have hand sanitizer in them?
Supposedly.
Okay.
I
So
haven't
I
heard
walked
back from
down-
Reagan.
I walked to the market on Sunday, and there's a couple of hand washing stations as you go down Blair, and all the fronts had been ripped out and the soap was gone. So, and clearly, you know, it wasn't. There was no bag there. They weren't just empty. Someone had opened them and removed the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So-
My trash can's still up there. That's a good thing. One thing about this, hey, Brad, would you feel comfortable sending sending an email to Regan in regards to this, spelling it out? Because we could work through Margaret, which we have tried, and I know Margaret is probably doing the best she can, but Regan is the new, like, homeless czar lady. I mean, she's the one that's allocating the restrooms and identifying the areas, and I mean, you go right to the top with her. It's not like we have to work through somebody. Are we still here? Nope.
I'll write one for Regan. I'll put in some appropriate references so she can
Right.
digest why what we're asking is important.
And I just thought that you would be able to explain it and clarify it probably in the most succinct way. Whereas, you know, plus, I mean, maybe even citing something in reference to the reason why you're talking about it, because to me, that's
Yeah.
equally important, especially if they could utilize that as a model for the rest of the porta potties and where they put them in the future too.
Yeah, we need to, when the city acts, and when it chooses not to act, it needs to always keep in mind, I think from here going forward for the next couple of years, how is this going to affect transition of COVID? You know, and
Yeah.
not always making the best choices right now.
Well, and when the boomerang hits and when we start relaxing this, and it does happen again, potentially, you know, how are we going to respond? Because we've responded really poorly as a society, especially to the most vulnerable people. But luckily, we live in the Pacific Northwest, and it really didn't overburden our health system. At least here in Eugene, Portland area, I-5. So I don't want to keep anyone any longer. I am so appreciative of your time, and thank you very much. Tomorrow at 6 with Danny Kime, and then Friday at 6 we'll work with Ian. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good night. Bye,
Yeah,
everyone.
you too.
Hi.
Bye. It's ended, babe. Yeah, I said it's ended. That was a good meeting. Well, that was a good meeting.